Lord, I'm at Harvard Library. I don't have any money. I don't have food. I'm a victim of a hate crime. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Mostly everyone in my family of origin is a terrorist. I could see that basura that is trying to rape me. They don't understand what toleration is, so they act like they own one, like one is obligated to cook for them at church on Sunday. In the meantime, I don't have electricity in my apartment. They're trying to traffic me into my parents' home, trying to rape me there. They're disgusting. They have no sort of self-respect. They don't respect that I have two children that I need to provide for, and they steal my money so I can't provide for myself, and so I can't provide for Jaden, so I can't provide for Kimani, who I haven't introduced to the majority of them, and I don't have to. What else? What else? What else? What else? When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel with many new people, ideally polyamorous men. Those are my personal goals, not introduce dating Kimani to people in my family of origin. If they mean well towards dating Kimani, they can meet. What else? What else? What else? What else? So they're just terrorists. They're so gross. When was this? And check the date. Behind the scenes, they're always comparing. They're like, no, don't give her money yet. I'm trying to see who says the word pandemic first. And then they fight, but they're like, but isn't Arlene the one who started the pandemic anyways? So Arlene's the queen anyways. So I don't need to discuss this in private porque it was already advised to me, like the others that they are. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I was seeing money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I investigated and invested money. You can decapitate Rosaura Soto Rosa stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, steals my money. She legally prostitutes herself. To Benjamin Sanderson's sons that rape me, that steal my money, that get in the way of me receiving money, that steal my homes and steal my vehicles. They're deplorable. They're so gross. What else? What else? They think that they're threatening me. They don't know how to gauge intelligence. They only see from what my perspective is. Arlene is Miss Goody Two Shoes, never does cocaine, but they're like with a little bit of pot steering here, with a little bit of theft, with a little bit of she doesn't want to be on the internet crying that she's hungry and doesn't have money, right? Maybe we'll get to rape her. They get obsessed over one's vagina. People that weren't born when I was born at orgies. They're disgusting. They're human rights violators. Una quiero see that. They're deplorable. So gross. Yeah. So I posted on Facebook last night. I typed that. What else? What else? What else? What else? They had Jimmy Legendary get lip injections. A ver si yo me copio de ella. Porque they're like, with even with $150 that her dad sends her, she could be running and getting like a cheap lip injection somewhere, or some of those are there some like at the pharmacy. So it's like, oh, so ella no es como Ginny Jandaliri, que siempre está stalking Arlene y se cree que sabe lo que es Arlene. Ellos la sacan a pasear y después se burlan de ella. They're like, mira que Jibares a los 40 y pico de años y que getting lip injections. Did you see that post? I posted that her daughter learned how to do that. They're disgusting. So they steal my money thinking that I'm gonna go on to do the same thing. I'm not against those beauty treatments for whoever wants to get them, but that's not in my calendar. Yo no tengo complejo que Kehlani tiene better lips than me. If I compare my lips to Kehlani in size, that's much younger than me, because usually that's what they do. They both look semi-healthy. To me, I suffer from anemia, so sometimes my lips are really much pale compared to my kids. But as far as plumpness, if one looks at it, I'm not in competition with the younger kid that could take a man from me that I need to plump my lips when I reach 40. What else? 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 So ellos le dan dinero del que me robo, and they're like, dale, 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 beauty treatment too, porque al niño se lo va a hacer y el niño es so Hollywood. I don't know anyone in Hollywood. They're disgusting. And I'm not trying to meet someone in Hollywood. What else? What else? What else? They want to take her to behind the scenes and falsely celebrating that I've exposed them raping me. Me being a rape victim and exposing it that I won't get invites. I never get invites to anything. One of his brothers may have access to an email account that some siblings created just to see who likes me or not. It's very dangerous. So I may be getting invites and gifts through those emails. If that is a live account, Alex, I think it is, who they hired as my fake assistant, but never takes me out to eat even. And they're just gauging all the time. Oh, so Valentino sent her shoes. These people in Africa will pay her just to meet her. So they're always gauging, but they never tell one the truth. And they possibly send out people. They're like, Dale, Mariangeli, Betu en Bedeja. Just say your name is Arlene at the door. And I've heard that specifically, I don't know if it's Albert or Andrew, has been at nightclubs and says, I'm here, I'm Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo, and people are like, no, you aren't. I know who she is, or I know your name. And you just fucked up. What else? 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 They're deplorable. They're so gross. They're so gross. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Anyways, so in case he's wondering if I'm taking him out on a date, never. Like Jennifer Bonita walked up to me and said, "When your husband is so amazing, makes love so well, and takes me on the best dates, porque se quede ella con él si la ley se lo permite." What else is what I thought, and that was like 20 something years ago. That doesn't entice me to take him out on a date. That's not a cry for help. It's just disgusting. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want my homes and my vehicles and my money. And I want him to stop getting in the way of your saving money. Ellos se emocionan. Ellos le lloran. Y Jennifer dice, ¿qué te pasa? Yo soy prostituta ilegal. Y él empieza, pero baby, vamos a casarnos. Porque Arlene dijo que me puedo quedar contigo si quiero. And people were like, that's not what Arlene said. That's your human right to be with whoever you want to be with. He could be taking them out as illegal prostitutes with my money that he steals, trying to pursue them. That's wrong. So that's why I won't ever take him out on a date. It's like he could be trying to pursue her and hires her as an illegal prostitute because he isn't a man. What else? 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 That was decades ago. I was like 19 when she said that. I'm gonna kill her in self-defense, and they're just gonna remember why. She steals from me, stays in my homes without my permission, and steals my vehicles. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? There. What should I do? What should I do? Llamo a mami, me caso con Andrew que me propuso matrimonio, o espero quién es el próximo Carlin salga en cita con él y le quito ese. They're not women, they're not men, they're deplorable. They're always after the next best thing that someone else has to take it away from them. Ew, they're deplorable. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I forgot that Yolanda said to me decades ago, how rich are many people? And then she laughed at me there. But I'm seeking the death penalty for Yolanda Suarez Lorenzo, and Yolanda Suarez Lorenzo to kill herself today. I didn't want to remember these people ever. Para mí, él está casado con Jennifer Bonilla, all 15 of them. But that's who he takes on a date instead of me with the money that he steals from me. So while I seek legal action towards them for stealing from me, getting the waiver, saving money, and staying in my homes without my permission, and stealing my vehicles, to me, that's who he's married to. It's possibly someone that he's attracted to doesn't know how to pursue her because is in a man y ella una facilita asquerosa. So he's like, at least I'm closer than you need a rest. I don't meddle in that shit. I don't ever want him near me. It's too late. Decades ago. What else? What else? What else? What else? I don't allow disrespect towards myself. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They thought that I wouldn't be on the internet today because I said that people have drugged me and raped me. In my teens, I don't think I get drugged me to have people rape me. Jennifer Bonilla was possibly raped me. She doesn't exist to me ever. They're trying to get me to take myself out of the dating game so that they can be the hot one on Tinder. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm hungry and I'm ready for food. I need to buy sandals today. What else? What else? What else? I still have like 11 months left. I feel as I wasting that on money right now. I want to cook for myself. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They want to humiliate me. Porque yo, según ella, yo no soy mujer. Pero es porque ella me quiere violar. So that's the language that they use. They're like, ella no es mujer. ¿Verdad, María? Que ella no es mujer. Or the other way around, ¿verdad, Jennifer? Que ella no es mujer. They're disgusting. They're terrorists. They're very dangerous. They're very gross. You can decapitate Maria Luisa Rosa. You can decapitate Jennifer Bonilla. I'm talking that behind this post. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm laughing at this post. I tried to tag Tinder because I didn't have internet. It didn't pop up yesterday. What else? 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 He's also married to Angela Jams. Who else did he introduce to me? Evelyn de Jesus, Berlin Jean. It's like, this is who I'm occupying my time with until you become available. I'm like, hell no. That's so disrespectful. I don't want to ever be available for it. What else? 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 I'm bored. If he had had interest in me, he would have pursued me, and I would. I wouldn't want to be with someone that isn't into me, into human rights as I am. What else? What else? What else? What else? Why can't I tag Tinder and Bumble? What else? 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 And there's no pressure. I'm not trying to get him to marry me because I like him. Ever. What else? I'm bored. What else? This says this. Oh, it was. What else? What else? What else? What else? I need money for college for my period date. So apparently they surround themselves with people that are so low class that suck dick. It desensitizes them. If they are in illegal prostitutes themselves, one can say I'm hungry, I don't have money, I don't even have money for pads or to provide for my kids, and they're surrounded by tan asquerosidad like Jennifer Bonilla, Maria Luisa Rosa, Legendary Lorenzo Suarez, and Elba Suarez. That they're like, she can figure out a way to get money. These people do it all the time. What else? What else? What else? What else? And I don't have plans to legally prostitute myself. And then they starve one on purpose because so many teachers. They're like, well, what number is she gonna ask for if she prostitutes herself legally? That would be something that I would keep to myself. They're very much don't know what boundaries are. Ew. There's plenty of fish too. Or much, much. Okay, he wants it to be full disclosure, you know? Let's match.com. Is it match? And plenty of fish. What's the other one? There's so many more. They don't. After I've been on Tinder already, he wants me to disclose that I'm less than that I'm a rape victim. What? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I am bored. I think that was the right match that I posted that message to. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. They want to tell me that that date night was boring. Why don't they write it in the comments? Porque the rapists, murderers, and thieves for the most part. So they wanted for them to tell me that date night was boring. I guess solo para el esa noche. What else? 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 I truly didn't enjoy it. I don't like copying work. But it was hilarious. That copycat me was there. Times like three. Avenida Jesus was there. Mandy Hansen was there. I'm like, why do I need to kill defense of defense and they're in the pain? No, looking at you're like, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So I take a deep breath. Does he notice that as I see those people? I almost dragging my feet while still being nice to my guest that was a girl the other way around. Like, I am not like gonna kill these people in self-defense right now. What else? What else? What else? What else? I think they served dinner, or they didn't. I also attended one that it was in Brandon. It was a place where we both learned how to cook a dish. What else? 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 I'm very sensitive to people being near me. Some people started having a conversation with me. Another couple that were there, I'm like, can you make sure that they don't talk to us? I don't, not quite direct, but I started rolling my eyes. I'm like, I don't want these people talking to me. And I got in a bad mood for like 3 minutes. I'm like, I don't know what these people are saying. Like at one point, there was some chopping exercise that everyone like had to pair up, I think, or I was like paired up with other people at the table. I don't think so. So when they started talking to me and a girl, I'm like, oh no, 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 no. Like it's for real. I'm like here trying to do the cooking school lesson. And if they even turn out to be someone staying in my home without my permission, I can just kill it. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Where was that? It was in Brandon. Brandon, Florida. Iceberg. I think it was some other. I can't remember. Is the Tasty Venues or couples? Oh, because that's what they want to do. They want to traffic one into parking, and one needs to be specific to these people who are girls. They take people hostage and they rape people that they were around during toddler exploration days. In the meantime, I understand. You can decapitate even the Jesus, you can decapitate who else? Mandy Hansen. What else? 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 So there, Rosaura marries publicly because she said the word pandemic to me. If that's the thing, that's what they do. They're like la fuerte, la tough, la que la abuse y le diga pandemic. Decades ago. Is that is the opposite in my presence? Is that is this? What else? What else? What else? What else? No deja que Andrew te deja por otra, deja que Albert te las pegue, deja que no te puedas casar con Alex. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I imagine he was so in the know that I didn't want to bore him. What do you know what's going on? Porque they tried to kill him for being polyamorous, I've heard. This piece of shit was born years after him and possibly goes around saying, ese es mi mujeriega, hay que matarla. So they brought El Barrio to Facebook, and they brought El Barrio to Facebook. And behind the scenes, they wanted to do the beating behind closed doors. And I don't show up to anyone's home to be attacked or hurt ever. I do the killing. What else? What else? What else? What else? So seeking the penalty for Rosaura Sotorosa. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Then they mock them. Then they're like, con alguien aquí porque didn't they say that? And that's who my dad like suggested that I date. It's like, con la que escribió el artículo, gente que trabaja aquí. My dad was like, you want to get out of sex trafficking from a Puerto Rico, see people that are in college, but just keep in mind that they also may carry a lot of drama with them. So he may be laughing at Rosaura Sotorosa and say, ella se cree que yo me voy a casar con ella porque ella escribió Pandemic primero. O compito porque escribió coronavirus en el Facebook del link. They missed the point that I'm hungry and I need money. So they identify themselves as very much aggressors. They're so gross. They're so gross. Anyways, now the secret's out there. Porque they want to do a stand-up. I've already been on Bumble and Tinder, plenty of fish, plus a match, just off a little bit. I don't know what I have against it. It's too serious. And I'm not the slutty type either, but I'm not the marriage type either. What else? What else? So, anyways, I've already been out on a few days of my life. They're like little clicks, tend to be a part of one's life. As in, like, consider me to rape you when you're done having kids. I'm like, I'm never gonna be done having kids. Feeling when I have sex, so I wouldn't want those people in my vagina ever. Oh, that. I'm very much that 3-year-old. Like, without having the reproductive ability to do it and knowing because I didn't wake up the next day mad at my mother and say, why isn't there a me out already? What else? What else? What else? What else? Was the tasty venues and maybe tasty venues. Oh, it was sort. Let's take a moment and check this place. What did we eat? Was a steak. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Does the kitchen look like? Was this for the table though? I didn't do any shopping. Or so weird. What else? What else? I'm bored. That looks really nice, this place. I'm gonna cook for myself later in the morning. Though they have pictures of the kitchen. It looks interesting. Or is it just a cooking space? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? More. Oh, I didn't post that. I just posted one day night. Oh, so they want to mock me. Is that when they sent to the International Criminal Court? They're like, one day night. Look at him, Andrew, instead of her. All the date nights that I with Alex and Sarah. Just one day night. So behind the scenes, they want to bully one. That's why they call starvation and be like, you just went out on one day ever with Edgar. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. Están en a whole day. Con que su primera visita a la biblioteca hoy. Y uno puede visitar la biblioteca 20,000 veces. Y ella jode que esa es la primera visita de una a la biblioteca. And people are like, tan jíbara tú eres que siempre estás diciendo, does she still behave that way? I'm not going to go on to find out. Ve a uno con un teléfono y ese es su primer teléfono. No, yo tengo más experiencia que ella. That is what they're implying as illegal prostitutes. Esa es su primera visita a una biblioteca. Ese es su primer teléfono. El primer libro que tiene ever. And people are like, get annoyed. And that's how they try to get people to kill themselves. Too. They're that nuance around people. They're around parents and family members. They're like, ese es el primer libro que tiene. La primera vez que como en un restaurante. Todo ello tengo más experiencia que ella. So they gaslight and they lie to people. People are like, but didn't you all read a book together once? ¿Cómo va a decir que esa es la primera vez que lee? Se dice, primero se dice quédate callada. Se lo dicen. It's like, be quiet just with your presence. You're going to attract what you want. And when you want to have the right conversations, you will attract what you want. And they're like, illegal prostitution. I need to take down everyone. And people were like, girl, that must be desperation right there. Okay, then they try to seek feedback from one and they get annoyed. I'm like, I'm not gonna hire a illegal prostitute, but if I ever felt the need for sex, I would want someone that knows how to behave, not someone who's like taking people down, like Hungry Hippo, or no, like the other one, like those animals that hide underground. And there's a game they get hit on and they keep popping up. So I want to be the last one standing. Dan un asco. So I purposely missed her saying, oh, la primera visita de una biblioteca, la primera cita, la única cita. Dan un asco. That to me is rejection, that they don't want one to talk to them, so I don't talk to them. And then they acquire groupies and Eileen doesn't talk to me. They're always angry and annoyed if people talk to them. Said people give them space and then they acquire groupies that don't even know one, I've heard, to talk about one as if they're one. And they start, Eileen, no te bañaste hoy. No tiene ni electricidad en la casa. Tu nenito, está apagado. And they get people annoyed and people get depressed and say, what is this? She faked being a friend to me and now fakes that I'm this Arlene girl that doesn't have electricity in her apartment. And she's mocking me like I'm that girl. I didn't become her friend to be that. What else? I'm misstating money. I'm misstating money. What else? So he is playing top and bottom. I know what that is. And so he's like, wow, allá en su mente lo que pensó, deciros ahora me barrió el piso con mi pelo no, mientras él se masturba eso. So what he does with his penis and his time, it doesn't concern me. And I said that in 2021 very much publicly. Porque I assume that the FBI should be doing their job to where I shouldn't be a permanent victim of theft. So at one point, is it too much that I've been starving out of money for anything and Jaden and Kaylani continue separated from me? For those people that I grew up around to get the death penalty for abusing me, for stealing from me, for getting the way we receive money. What else? 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 I'm bored. I miss Jaden. I miss Kaylani. So I assume that Andrew, if he went on to rape Jaden Kalani, 6th-year anniversary of Jaden Kalani, 7. Porque they infiltrated, what is her name? Claudia Gabriela Martinez Urias into my home with Edgar. And then this asquerosidad de Sonia Alvarado Chapman, they prepped them, I've heard. You're like, you look so pretty, and your mom would have said so. Now I'm gonna pretend that I'm spanking that ass and go on your date with Alex. Hopefully your dad isn't calling the cops on us. Or your mom reports this later, right? I called your titi. She said you look so pretty. Couldn't tell you directly because then she would have wanted to undress you. Maybe Alex does so tonight. By the way, sex is. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Sonia Alvarado Chapman, then publish your Facebook in 2020. You can decapitate anyone that has caused my poverty, my anxiety, my depression. Trying to rape Jane Kiloni or has raped Jane Kiloni. What else? 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 Otra puta asquerosa basura que se queda en mi casa que quiere pelear behind the scenes por Liam Baker. What else? What else? What else? That hides behind her kid's Facebook account. Exactly. I don't know what Papa Log is. Is that him too? What else? 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 They fuck around with one starvation. I don't get it. How they do that. They're deplorable. Porque even I that can kill them in self-defense, but Rachel Macias breakfast Sunday. She had been rehabilitated, so that was me assuming that she's an adult. And she had I didn't know how I knew her, but I ran into her. I'm like, who is this? I'm like, wanna have breakfast together? Sure. And I even paid for her breakfast. Like, what if she rehabilitated herself from being a legal prostitute? So maybe that was a celebration. I always treat them like that. I paid for Sarah's entrance to garden, Lisa's entrance to garden the first time that I took them each. And they don't expect for me. They're not like the next time. I love that about them. They're like a little bit more elevated than the people I grew up around in that they don't stand waiting around for one to pay. They're like, oh, next time I'll pay. But behind the scenes, they're also, she only paid for the first. What else? What else? What else? And then Sonia Alvaro says she only paid for the first. That's what they do behind the scenes. I don't want to be a part of that. What else? What else? What else? Esa tipa una puerca. And she kept her kid, is what he wants to say. If that was her kid on her Facebook page, they brag, ese Andrew un basura y tanto le casan. Pero buena madre, and the bad ones. What else? What else? What else? Eso no es. Dating isn't tit for tat ever. They don't know how to be men. What else? What else? What else? What else? Y ya se perdió my 8.75963 birthday. Not my 40th. My 13.72. 39.6. Porque a lot of people don't celebrate on their actual birthday. They're like, oh, I just had a birthday a few months ago, and that's like the progression of life. Like, I'm celebrating this day with you. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? And sometimes people say, "Oh, then it's like your birthday, and I brought you a gift." What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Anyways, I'm too hungry, gente. Oof. La gente ve, you shouldn't be an artist. You should be an illegal prostitute like me. Those of us that are illegal prostitutes, profit. You can decapitate Maria Luisa Rosa. You can decapitate Jennifer Bonilla. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Let me see. Let me see money. What else? 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 That's what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? When I'm financially stable, I'm going to travel the planet and make people ideally polyamorous. Oh, I keep typing my GoFundMe by this post. That's not on purpose. What else? To do my bank accounts. What else? What else? What else? What else? Unboard. What else? They wanted to change the language of my family of origin. They want to try to kill everyone that doesn't agree to me. Like, that was hella good. Oh, my. What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. And then they find groupies that be behind the scenes. They're like, yeah, man, that was so exciting. Hella good. And sometimes they're like, excuse me, I have to get to Chanel with my mom later on today. Can I quit this? Hella good. Have you ever speak up to them? She's like very tough. Yeah. For 5 minutes, and they're like, dude, I have to visit Chanel with my mom later. I'm not gonna be like hella good at Chanel unless it comes out. Or they're like, oh my god, I was at Chanel, and I'm like, oh my god. And they're like, brownie points for Sonia that said hella good at Chanel. Now we have all the people infiltrated there to be stoners one day. True story. I was there. It was a party, so I don't remember them. Sometimes I think they rehabilitate themselves. And they're asked for permission. They're like, wait. Or they get annoyed. They're like, I don't need to ask for permission to not say hella good when I'm out with my mom. Ew. They're deplorable. Language is something that one acquires naturally. It's like you all nigger comes out naturally. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm just telling you their requests. So that they ideally stop putting guns to people's heads so that people give me money ASAP. Yeah. They have demands and they're hella good. Y yo no sé qué. What else? What else? What else? So that way you can insert whatever it is, like call 911. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Entonces, I just posted on Facebook. And the library is open until 6, so I'm just here checking my inbox for if I receive money through. They all want to be my assistant. They're pesters. If one doesn't let them rape one, they're like, I want your password. And I'll tell you when you get money. And then a week passes, I've heard. And they're like, "Oh, dude, you were supposed to, we're going to make it complicated, but to meet the neighbor. You were supposed to text the neighbor to knock on my door and tell me that I received money so I could access my money." They're like, "We were waiting a week por si te mueres para quedarnos con el dinero." They spell out their stupidity. So my demeanor and then like with how it was spelled out to me is like, you're gonna be at the not counting on them to tell you by you giving them your password of when your money gets deposited. Porque si no te mueres, nena, te mueres. Durmiendo tranquilito en tu apartamento pensando que no has recibido dinero and they're like planning to kill you to keep your money or at least fantasizing about it. That was decades ago. Give 'em a break. Porque mi permiso, me roba mi dinero, me roba mi vehículo. Puerto Rico y va a hacer a fiestas y les hace la rutina. Entonces él dice, no, me sentí violado porque esto es una puta asquerosa que gets in the way of Arlene receiving money and living life. So is she here offering her service or is she against at this orgy? That's how they treat them. And then they get mad porque they're deplorable. Y se le dice over and over and over for decades. ¿La madre se lo recuerda? ¿O la madre es peor? What else? 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 So decades ago, Serafin, along with other people, are like, you are gonna starve a little bit, and your kids will understand based on your demeanor that you need to seek the death penalty for these people so they back off from the illegal prostitution, from stealing, so that women and men can't date, and for them to be the polyamorous envy, everyone envies. It's like my vagina can get polyamorous just with myself. Porque I don't attach it to anyone. What else? What else? What else? What else? Son bruta, dan asco. You can decapitate Maria Luisa Rosa. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? Think of the people that abused me. Ever. I have all the write-ups, but I don't show them anymore. Because they didn't get Lonnie asked me to not share their conversations with me anymore. No, that they realize how deplorable are like many people in my family version, and how nice some are. Look at they're like, Mom, even Tinder? Wow. Wiregrass shops? Oof. Love it there already. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? And piña coladas are so cool. That they didn't mention in the conversation. I may have the so good. I love a virgin one though. It's so good. It's so good. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. So literally, they try. They want credit for something. Those people that I grew up around for decades already. Some of them pick roles and then they fight with someone. They're like, you and I can't be in the running for being the first one to say this is the piña colada of your dreams that you've never tried before. And that's why a lot of people don't comment on my post because they're trying to do by elimination. They're that bored. They're that deplorable. So they possibly go through the comments of like someone liking Pina Colada on Instagram and they say, well, you get to live. You I don't like, and I'm just gonna steal your boyfriend from you, have dinner with your mommy, and try to ruin your life. There, I didn't kill her. What else? What else? What else? What else? That's why I don't talk to them in private. I have nothing in common with these people. Again, I don't know if he witnesses that just for fun or to report it to the FBI, I wouldn't even be present. It's like if one isn't present, maybe that conversation won't happen. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Bored. Who's giving me money today? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Is there a female in this? No. How he thinks that I look without a grandma? How he thinks that I look on the internet because I'm poor? They hate the internet in terms that everyone's gonna know that they until they're teen-ish. Like, dude, that's what happened to you. I was scrape on my knee that actually don't like. I don't even remember how I got it, so I'm gonna have to get over that. Decades ago, I think I said that. I'm like, I have a scrape on my knee that I don't really like. I'm gonna have to get over that. But it's because like a lot of people bring it up. Because I'm over it, I don't bring it up. So now I have more scrapes on my knees. I fell at what is wow that dumb too. I fell at the Salvation Army and I fell while walking downtown getting food. I tripped. It was cold. I didn't have a jacket. I didn't have money. I had hung out at the airport overnight. What else? 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 So, ahora él va con el chisme a la gente y le dice, dale, dale, Jennifer, ponte de rodilla, mamarme el pene. Que Arlene ahora tiene las rodillas todos jodidas. So basically, they're marking me. What else? What else? What else? What else? And these are meant to be relatives. These are the sons of my first cousin, who Jolanda or someone suggested that they don't follow me from or give me their actual like social media account, like where he was at Eddie V's last night. Because that's gonna change my thought process. I'll be like, oh nice, I'll never say money. So they have a did they not like make pretty life if he has it to show trafficking to me too. What else? What else? What else? They waste their time on that instead of being a family. They're like, well, this one didn't get along when she was 2 years old and 3. And they don't let one become, and I'm talking about my parents too, and the people that steal from me and get in the way of me receiving money. They don't let one like run into him before all this drama happened. What else? 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 They're like, you must seek the death penalty for him. They're like, you must grow up, and maybe if I'm financially stable, he'll stop obsessing over me. What else? 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 I'm bored. So they take them hostages, rape them. They're very pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What am I doing here? Is it from this account? It's not that one. I think I blocked him from this profile. So my siblings raped them. They're like, you're mine, you're my toy to play with. You're se deja. O me quiere matar por decir que se deja. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? To him, these may have tried already everything that they can. What else? 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 I'm bored. Oh, do they bring like the past all the time? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I have no relationship with him ever. No, but I think that is just so deplorable in how people obsess and hang on to like everything, little thing that they've witnessed, and they're like, he insulted her chocolate milk when she was 1.5. They must not be together ever. We want perfection from day one. They want perfection from day one. Get they beg King Charles to suck his dick instead of asking how they maybe hold on our Prince Harry. They're deplorable. They're so gross. Ew, 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 ew. It's now annoyed that there's like so many posts. And what else? What else? What else? What else? He could be seeking help for himself. Through me, sadly. What else? Look at my siblings for the most part. Disgusting. One of them is trying to make me look like I'm Latino poor just to try to attract Edward James Olmos. Porque isn't he like an expert in Latino culture? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? That's hilarious how one reads the podcast. And it's 5 trillion. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. This is so annoying. There's pictures of them here. What do they fluctuate in ages? 50-ish to what? 30? What else? What else? You can decapitate Oliver Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Maribel Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Gilbert Lorenzo Acevedo. That would brag in my parents' home. Wow. Nosotros violando a Albert y Albert podría haber estado casado. And I just looked around and I looked at my parents like, there's not What else? What else? What else? They're that dumb. They're that stupid. Like right in front of one, they laugh. They're like, ha ha ha, yeah, man, sex, you're making us look bad. Ew, 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 ew. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? I'm seeing the penalty for everyone that stays in my homes with all my permission, steals my money, that gets in the way of me receiving money. I want to receive money today. I want electricity in my apartment. I want to clean my apartment. I want to order food for myself, shop at HEB, cook for myself. I want to take myself downtown. What else? What else? What else? Possibly to the IMAX theater by myself. There's a Dave's and Buster's. There's 1902 at St. Paul Square. Is Royal Blue Grocery coming back to the east side? So there's one of them. I don't know their names. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Down to me tagging yesterday. Did a post on Facebook. Porque one of them would complain that instead of pursuing me at family parties, his dad took him out on trips. And be like, we're not gonna cause more drama. So he literally went on to introduce to me all those people that he met at orgies with his dad. And he's like, if they were a part of my life, how they gonna be? So basically, those are all the people that landed for the most part in my home. Some days I'm like, how do I know this and why do I want to kill it in self defense? What else? What else? What else? What else? I could be living life today. When I was 10, I could have been at the beach and we could have approached me. Because some people say that they rape, like, you don't even know it. You're like all kissing him and all so happy. And then, like, they talk to people, they're like, I just raped that girl. She thinks I love her. But I didn't fake it either. Like, that direct. What else? 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 I'm bored. Benjamin Suarez. I tagged them and they're done yesterday. Did I post? Like I didn't have internet, so I just waited. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else is it? Didn't I post? Still hate that sack lunch that he's trying to kill me. Possibly because I tossed away food. He doesn't know the rules in my parents' home, which my parents would have ever violated my rights. What else? 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 So, and he's trying to pretend that he's kin. So he's like, whatever I think your parents' branding is towards you, that's how I treat you, even if it means violating rights. So, guys, ew, ew, ew. Psycho. Did it not post? Is it still posting? Anyways, they just ruined my time with me having to. They're grown men. What? What else? 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 And there's still like one, two, be like that. I'm so annoyed. There was at those family parties, and I was having sex with people I didn't want to have sex with, and I could have pursued myself during that time. Or they can't be living life today. What else? What else? What else? What else? If that was a family activity, very unlikely that we will go to jail. By now they're already parents, possibly. Y le han mordido el cuerito a su bebé. And hold hands. And mua, mua, mua. Y le maman las tetas casi al frente de otra persona. What else? 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 I can't find that post. I think I may not have posted, or maybe it. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Anyways, they want to take me out of the dating game. Some of them. Mark too. He's really pretty, and he gets raped. I've heard by my siblings. What else? What else? What else? What else? Did I post or not? I'm bored. Just going through my posts from yesterday too. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So, what else? Where did it go? I guess it didn't post. It didn't post, I guess. Or maybe it's still in queue to post. Oh, there's still a few posts. You went with a hate crime towards me. So some people say that I keep going because he's either very much asshole or he's still at risk of maldita sea cousin thinking that I'm the solution to end rape in the area that I grew up in. And it's not by mamándome los tetas. Or violándome. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Oh, there it is. So we're talking about grown that are possibly victims of my siblings raping them. Still. Okay, I'm still poor and hungry today. And my siblings brag that they know what Uber is. And then I proved that chicken that I couldn't find the other day. What else? What else? What else? So decades ago, Benjamin said to me that I'm gonna be forced to starve. So I seek the death penalty for Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. So I seek the death penalty for Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. So I seek the death penalty for Gilbert Lorenzo Acevedo for stop raping his sons. And I don't complain about it because I'm very much single, ruining my marriage with at least one of them. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. Anyways, what else? Very much grown men. What else? What else? What else? I want food from Luna Rosa today. So I have to. I have an obligation towards myself dating Kelani to seek the death penalty or Lorenzo for if he's getting the way of mercy and money so that my siblings get the death penalty for abusing. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I didn't go on like cooking and saying to Jada and Kaylani, well, here are your goldfish crackers and cheese and grapes that I could have with the is trafficking me into poverty, possibly if my second cousins that are so beautiful. Anyways, continue to get beautiful. That I think Joseph y el otro y el otro y el otro. What else? 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 I'm bored. My siblings are the poor. Well, they're being compared to worse than chimps in how disrespectful they are. What else? What else? What else? What else? They think that good behavior. Porque for Disney, you pay yourself the ticket. What else? What else? What else? Y al día en chancleta siempre. Al día en chancleta siempre. Y que parece que siempre están chupando los dedos en their porn. Porque yo no siempre estoy en chancla and they're always saying que yo en chancletas I don't have good behavior to enter to Buckingham Palace. Let's just say that I killed someone when I was three, and first of all, I don't die for an invitation to Buckingham Palace. Third of all, someone may know themselves as a guest, and they may know that they've invited someone that killed someone at one point, maybe. Why do they have to be like so obsessed with Buckingham Palace? Porque those people know how to show off well. They would get my dad angry. My dad is like, really? We just had like a really nice day. I thought the only way from one La Chiquita. Porque I was still like getting the sand out of my face. So playing with my ball. Like I just got it out of the car. That scene here, daddy catch this or mommy catch it. You too. Oh, is there like no body of water like that direct to Buckingham Palace that they hate themselves? Porque they can't make the comparison of like yo estoy aquí masturbándome at the thought of Prince Harry y él no está en la playa, que saben. Ew, possibly. So my parents were like, no offense, but I thought we had like a really good time at the beach today, and you're all complaining. Except La Chiquita. Que you had a terrible time on la playa. We're never going back to the beach. I'm like, no, but why do you have to punish me for those stupidities? Like, it's not like you're not going to go to the beach back ever. Pero as a family, I'm never going back to the beach with you. Yeah, and I've been to the beach several times. I was thinking about Coachella earlier. It's like there's those festivals in Agua de Puerto Rico, Pico de Piedra. The one where it's like the really short shorts or showing the sun, so even if one isn't in the water. So I don't need to see any pictures of how they use my money that they steal from me to take people to Coachella. If I've worn the short shorts and the cute top or the bathing suit to the beach in Aguada, Puerto Rico at a music festival. Where one is like, ay, qué nene lindo, pero no me gusta así. Ay, el hijo del doctor, qué bello. Oh my god, mi favorite pero llegó. Bye guys, me perdieron, me perdieron. Anyways, nena, te perdiste, te comiste la piragua sola. Without they bring it up. It's like I thought we were all gonna partake. No, 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 don't get scared, don't get scared. Not stop scaring her. Oh my god, qué linda ella, ella se fue sola. y se compró una piragua. ¿Viste a alguien? I'm like, no, actually, fulano, 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 estaban por ahí. And said hi to me. And they're like, pues voy para allá porque one of them is like someone that they're actually dating and I'm not. And I didn't mention it because of that. And they're like, ya perdimos a esta, ya se fue con el novio. And I'm like, ew, like they're not attached to each other. Like, a mí me da igual, yo, in my head, yo estoy allí sola. Like, if everyone were to leave with a significant other, yo me voy a quedar sola and fine. Like, I was just there for the music and the food and the scenery. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? And the occasional, damn, that one looks good in swimsuit. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, mira ese saliendo del agua. Y no es mi primo, mi primo. De lejito porque no me gusta tampoco para eso. Pero mira qué lindo es. Porque there are a few guys in agua de Puerto Rico that like come out of the beach and one is like, oh wow, like this. I wanna see cómo sale de la playa suave. What else? What else? Then looks down embarrassed, like, oh my god. And then he just noticed that I was just like checking that out, like staring. Pero whatever. What else? What else? What else? So they would be like, wow, she just left by herself. Se tomó la piragua sola. And some of them would say these are people my age back in the thing, not necessarily classmates. That would say, I'm gonna try that one day. From now on, I'm gonna take myself dining alone. Ella no llegó, like, diablo, ¿cómo se está? Que se dice, vengo ahora, voy a dar una vuelta sola y dice, Vicenta, ay, tan feo que tenía esta. Uy, el novio nuevo de aquella. ¿Vieron cómo llegó aquella sin peinarse, parece? Pero parece que pagó un montón por el peinado. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. So they want to show me specifically, possibly those people that I attended or said hi to at festivals in Agua de Puerto Rico. How they saw my money there, Coachella, que gente jíbara, gente, que gente jíbara. What else? What else? What else? I'm not gonna show them. I am not gonna show them. I'm not even gonna seek it either. What else? What else? What else? Wow, Johnny Swoon. And I want pumpkin everything from Trader Joe's. What? I'm bored. What is it? Didn't I already share this about Rolexes? Guys, guys, guys. Guys, I'm a victim of that. Beware of that Rolex watch user. That he is a fake, not the watch. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Without saying it specifically. Oh, I want to stay here somewhere on a tan. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored, so in the meantime, instead of me living life, I'm like tagging my second cousin and saying, you're still not men, or consider yourselves rape victims like all day long that you cry, except when you're in Africa and you're like, ah, that's a hot guy, se me quitó el choriqueo. What else? What else? What else? What else? They need to occupy their time with what nourishes them, so they're not crying that they're a rape victim every day when they don't have a significant other to partake with. They may be just overthinking when they're bored instead of living life. Their dad said to them decades ago, if Arlene starves, I'm gonna show you how she spends her day. He's like crying that she's hungry. It's like away from her siblings and the people that hurt her. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored, and if I've been with those people, I don't have sex with them. So that's a huge problem. People say that they think that they need to prove their manhood or they're sex addicts and porn addicts. So I can be out with genies and ladies and not put out and not give a fuck. So she's trying to rape me still, possibly gets in the way of me receiving money, steals my money, gets stays in my homes without my permission. I suffer from amnesia. So I was possibly at the movie theater with her one day, just like, did you like the movie? Porque I could bring a guest with me. So I'm like, I'll just bring her. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Pero I don't have sex with her. So ella quizás later like gets a picture of me, stabs it, and as long as she doesn't kill me, people say a little extreme, but that's healthier than killing people. And says, what is so wrong with me that she didn't have sex with me? And it's not her specifically, it's just attraction doesn't work that way. What else? 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 So he trafficked so many people, possibly people that are here too, to laugh at his dad and be like, pero mira si el niño está con that guy with the deep voice, I've heard him before. El que se cubre la máscara y cuando se la quita, I'm like, that's not what I thought you looked like in my head. It's hilarious. So, but his dad is like, but she's not actually having sex with them. So they have a problem with separating Rasan por Jose, I think, or maybe lack impulse control of separating what is sex. Because I could be here, be like, but I'm not naked with my lady parts exposed and doing like much nastier acts. This is just some people call it sensual. To some people, say she's so sensual, but I think the same about you. What else? What else? What else? That's why we don't get fist fights. Fist fights, funny one. Forget I do There's that. It's called that. You and I don't get into fist fights, patty bags. Fights because I don't see it. I brought bread with me. I brought peanut butter, I brought chocolate, I'm starved. I brought applesauce. What else? What else? What else? So it's like they made a sex ed class. Those people that I grew like permanently. They know what rape is because it's been talked about. So that if they don't get the death penalty, they don't cross the line of sexually harassing people just because one is a family member. 2 seconds of it I could take, not of your dick raping me, but you maybe being like, ha ha ha, I just had to try. Pero that's just because I get kind of blurted out. De que porque no te acuestas conmigo esta noche. And then there are the people that one knows that one doesn't have interest in, and they don't have interest in one that joke around that like that. They're like, pero ¿por qué no te acuestas entonces conmigo esta noche? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I need money for crowns, like for who's giving money? I want food from Luna Rosa today, and I want a salad too. And I may have to order it for my apartment because the library closes at 6. I have t-shirts that I'm cutting up in my apartment and using them possibly for the first time ever in my life. I don't have money for pounds for my period. So what they're trying to do is give me pads for my period. To imply, because didn't I cry already? Like while I was working at Gap, I'm like, I don't have pads for my period, and I'm asking for the people at Haven for hope, like for pads, and they're like, girl, te di cuatro ahorita, you need more than that. This isn't a. Do they go on and get mad and say to people, and that's what they try to traffic one. They're like, mi prima trabaja allí, Arlene, y ella no dijo que un shelter for the rest of your life, nena, mátate ya y vete. Well, they steal from one and they get in the way of one receiving money and they stay in one's homes without one permission and steal one's vehicles. They all have a prima that supuestamente works at Haven for Hope that is complaining to them privately of like, oh my god, she keeps asking for more pads. And this is a place for just like 1 or 2 nights, ideally, unless a pipe bursts in your apartment. What else? 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 So, first time ever, gente, I may have to cut up t shirts and use them so I don't stain my clothes because I don't have money for pants. Well, Andrew le está regalando toallas sanitarias a Jennifer Bonilla y a María Luisa Rosa con mi dinero que me roba. Déjame averiguar eso. Es un puerco, es una basura. I don't ever want him near me. He's disgusting. Worse for her, her mother died while she doesn't have pads ever. No, she's become a problem of the system. An adult woman that knows how to drive, they say, has become a part of the system. Ew, they're disgusting. So as I'm cutting up tonight my t-shirts that are just chocolate stained, I'm tagging the FBI in this post, NATO, Interpol, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department in the United States, the International Criminal Court, the U.S. Army, maybe the U.S. Marines. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money, that get in the way of me receiving money. They stay in my homes without my permission. They steal my vehicles without my permission. I think their names are Alex, Andrew Basura, Albert Leach. Asquerosidad, they're bigots and they have a hate crime towards me because I didn't have a set of grandparents while growing up. So now that my mother dies, he acts like el dollar no existe, but that's because he's a porn addict. He's a sex addict. So he's a dollar hoarder and he steals from me so that he doesn't ever run out of sex. He's an animal or drugs. I've heard that they do drugs. I got the reject letter decades ago. Oh, you don't smoke weed? Ha ha ha. I can't be in my own home with you. What? Qué asco. Y al otro día, gente, yo fui y busqué el papelito, ¿viste? But I totally respect it for those that do it legally and sanely, but I don't like anything that others. So most likely al otro día, hágame el papelito, el bolígrafo. Me escribí una notita a mí misma. Or I got glitter and glue. Instead of being like, okay, 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 I'll do drugs with you. Let's be together. Ew, they're disgusting. There's people. Edgar smokes weed supposedly decades ago, and he had a baby too with me. But I'm like, I want my babies to be healthy. It's like, I just won't smoke weed. What else? 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 So, okay, I'm not okay if I have to use t shirts for my period today. Pero look at who steals from me. Look at who gets in the way of me receiving money. Look at who's trying to kill me. What else? 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 And they're all together at Gran Marnier. Hoy están quizás en qué playa. ¿Dónde por allí? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So, hoy ellos están todos celebrando de que I don't have money for food. And nutrition facts, calories, HEB select ingredients. Elefante Samson, del monte. Yo los dos del niño me enteré. Sí, porque Keila cogió una clase con él. Y ella le dijo, by the way, look at this. There's a woman dying on the internet. We started her on purpose because she refuses to take to her second cousin since she was 2 years old. Terrible. She ain't even a woman. I'm 20 and I'm like so amazing on his dick. Like I'm a woman. He takes me everywhere. What else? He takes me everywhere. That's what the dull people say about people like me. They're like the dull hair that they released an unofficial statement a few minutes after this video. We don't even know these people. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else for real? I hate that. What else? What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. They're disgusting. To legally to say that my price is too high, that my price is too low, that my price is just right. They're disgusting. Things so gross. Ew, 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 ew. Dan un asco, they're deplorable. All los. Ew, ew. So, además de dumps. Yeah, hay de restaurante por allí. Because they think that I obsess, that I ruminate. They're like, oh no, we're going para el restaurant. 24 cogieron para la terraza. Porque they have spouses, they have kids en el Saudi. Mira, look, I don't even know you well, but this is Eileen's vagina. That's what it is. She's a queen. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So they're all possibly rating. Some of the American restaurants are at terraza, some are a restaurant bar. West Florida Sun. What else? What else? Otros Avocata Smokehouse and Restaurant. Oh, and he says to people. And Latino poor people. Como decir, what is that? No me sale. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What is it? Let me. Para las prostitutas ilegales que no tienen ropa. To be me. Let's to have dinner today, Jada Kailani. Well, I'll tell you this. It's always my conversation with Jada Kailani. You look like you're fucking with the woman that has it all already. And has 2 beautiful kids. So she's not gonna go on to find out what is it that you guys do without me, and can I be invited so it can be cool? It's like, bitch, you're the one trying to overstep in my life, not me. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So I have nothing to say about any one of them. Today didn't get over. So when I'm sitting down to have dinner, dude, it's gonna be me. Besides, how are you? So what did you do today with your dog? Very rarely I ask. Seconds? I never ask them. I just say, or they have the knowledge that there's more food on the stove or served, so they go back for seconds. Dinner usually is during the weekday. How is school today? Tell me one thing. I call it a thing sometimes that you liked at school today. Something that went wrong today. Forget to give them an outlet to say like, I stumbled my pinky on a chair today. And that was very much painful just in the moment, but I'm okay right now for me and it still hurts. What else? 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 Saturday we're going shopping somewhere. Or I watched this movie at movie theater. I'm taking you out to the movie theater next week. Or I saw that the movie's available to the Netflix or the other program where one buys the movie. Is it Voodoo? It's not Voodoo. Is it? What else? What else? What else? What else? Please entice me with 15 minutes of gumbo. When they live with me at that age, fosters for the family friends. What else? 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 Oh my God! Watch this! Watch this! 5 seconds of Blue's Clues that I found on YouTube. It's hilarious. I don't sit across dating Kehlani to say this is the people that steal from me. Beware. By the way, I just added my second cousin to Facebook. Beware that he's a rapist. What else? What else? And by the way, Matthew's mom is just an illegal prostitute. Never. Matthew's a baby. Never. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm not chopping up my steak and saying, I'm killing your grandma in self defense. Okay. Every few years, I say to Jaden Kimani, it's just you two, myself, and your dad. That's all the family that you have. If you two get along to be able to rely one on the other, that would be great. If you need to, in the case of an emergency, it's not a requirement for you to be her sibling to want to rescue her, but also don't bully her either. But I don't need to go into that detail. When they were about to be separated from me in 2020, Jaden said to Kehlani, I'm not leaving you alone. And then he's like, as he was like, oh, there's an amicus that I think I can trust ish. So there's now the court system involved in this child custody case of you and I with mom and dad. Dude, if you want to just be with mother or dad, you can pick for yourself. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm shooting Jennifer Mari Vasquez in self defense Sunday. I'm shooting Jennifer Bonilla in self defense Sunday. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I am bored. And I shared this post and they asked me to not share about them anymore. I know I can't help it. I see a post that has their picture. What else? What else? What else? And it's old content. So they're because they're porn addicts, they're sex addicts, and they're already death penalty worthy. They focus on the menial things. They're like, "Well, Jaden, what do you want to kill your mother?" Possibly a pester about you on social media. Then something that isn't illegal. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. So I had just assumed that what is it? Al Caracol Restaurant, Panela, a Mosaico, Lombrano Food Hall, Can Restaurant. I'm bored. I'm hungry too. I don't want to. Anyways, so they're all for the past 5. If those restaurants were open, tienen que tener fotos esta gente a dos. Like a lot in 30 years. I've been staying with Mommy. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Mommy. So I don't. Or their plans to rape me. Or how they all got a hold of my vagina pictures. Or my lingerie pictures. They're very gross. They're disturbing. They're so disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. So there's those. And there's so many restaurants in Puerto Rico. What else did they wear? Possibly Chanel. Or Laurent. What else? 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 She wants to show me. She has a home with him. Wow. Donde ella tiene cartera Chanel. Wow. They learn themselves and don't get corrected because that's supposed to be a parent. Her skirt was and looked at me and said, "Ha ha ha, I'm more woman than you are." So didn't Kehlani. For if they taught him and heard that language to separate Jaden Kehlani from me, because they could have possibly conditioned Jaden Kehlani, dressed them up, said, "Andrew, llévalos a París." Y Carly no se entere. And then they're like, because I don't let her rape, Lynn could have possibly said to Jaden Kehlani, when you get back from Paris, you say to your mother, "You ain't woman enough, and that's why I was there with Andrew." That's what they waste their time. They're animals. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. Then there's like the people that are like, we're like los periodistas de TV Guía, mezclado con Gigi Hadid, que modela, mezclado con Bella Hadid, que también modela, mezclado con Silverio Pérez, mezclado con María Celeste Raras, mezclado con Jorge Figueroa, el periodista ese, and we all witnessed it. Cuando Andrew llevó a Kehlani a París y Marilyn le dijo, como Aileen no la viola, no la deja que la viole, le dijo a Kehlani, cuando tú regreses de tu trip, tú le dices a tu madre que ella no es mujer y tú sí, nosotros hicimos así, todas, a standing ovation. They said, you go, girl, Kehlani, you go, girl. You are a woman. By the way, take off that dress in front of us again. We're like the voice kids with our naked people. Dale, 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 let us see it again. Because that's usually why they cause a mother to starve and for her kids to be separated from. In case you didn't know. Who is that guy that sings that song? It's so pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? Here's my birth certificate. And those are women. They're rapists, murderers, and thieves. Se quedan en mi casa sin mi permiso, me roban mi dinero, they get in the way of me receiving money. They piggyback that we were Facebook friends and then we were friends. No, never. I attended school with some of these lichas asquerosidades, and I'm seeking the death penalty for them. That's networking on Facebook because I'm like, dear FBI, why is this problem still happening to me? And does anyone want to kill them in self-defense for stealing from me, for stealing from Jaden, and stealing from Kehlani? Anyways, ta-da! Look at what it says there. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Ellas quieren pelear por el pene de Edgar. ¿Que por qué te lo llevaste por tanto tiempo? Ahora no me quiere hablar. ¿Crees que necesita una mamadita los domingos? ¿Cuál es su día de él estar tranquilo sin ti para yo ofrecerle una mamá de pene? ¿Y cuánto le cobro? ¿Cuánto le cobro? No sabes. I'm not gonna show up behind the scenes in group chats to talk to these leeches, to waste, to drain my energy on stupid conversations because they're illegal prostitutes. I'm not. They want to brag that we all look like illegal prostitutes on Facebook. No, we didn't. What else? What else? What else? What else? They're deplorable. So you can kill Marilisa Echevarria, you can kill Gloria Suarez, you can kill Joana Vargas, you can kill Maritza Munoz, you can kill Araceli Echevarria Gonzalez, you can kill. Who else was in that group chat? Marisa Vargas Lorenzo. You can kill Marilia Serrano. What else? 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 You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez for save money. Esa que tiene the most gray hair is obsessed with my toddler exploration years ago. That was the only time it was short lived. So él quiere. We fue que asco pasa. It was toddler exploration, no feelings. Trying to force me to give up my children to one of these illegal hookers que dan asco y no son ni la madre de Jalen Kehlani, que algunas gritan, yo no lo quiero, yo no la quiero a la nena esa. Because not all of them are after keeping my children. Some of them are very direct in what I witnessed decades ago with my primas going on to this. I won't subject myself to even entertain the conversation with them. They're deplorable for. Ew, 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 ew. But I've witnessed like you have to give up kids to these people that you kissed on the lips in an orgy when you were 2. People are like, no, I don't. So they want to like force transfer children as if one is in a polyamorous tribe when one isn't. But at least one of these people goes around saying, yo no quiero a Jaden y yo no quiero a Kehlani here in my home as if I'm his and her parent. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Dan un asco. They're deplorable. I may have been in the same room with some of these people when I picked the names for Jaden and Kehlani. And I'm also picking the name of my next business venture. Not in necessarily like my next one, but a future venture. It's gonna be Friday. That doesn't mean that they own it. Did they go on to register in Singapore, in Puerto Rico? They're like Friday, 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 Friday. Register, register, register. That's gonna become rich one day. What else? 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 You can decapitate Jorge Aviles that raped me in 2016. That was after my vagina pictures and my lingerie pictures to share with all this grossness. They're deplorable, so disgusting that I ever talked to them. They know I'm not gonna start now. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Now you know what I've been thinking. Forget someday you know everything that I think about for the death penalty for these people. They're so gross. What else? What else? In the meantime, I'm sending emails to people asking for money because I'm starving. It. First time ever in my life that I may have to use t-shirts to not stain my clothes or my bed when I sleep. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Well, Joana Vargas celebra. Yo soy mujer de Albert y por eso yo tengo tallas sanitarias. They think they live in a telenovela. They're so disgusting. These are people of no age. Mientras Claudia hago el pene y tengo toallas sanitarias. While they steal my money, they get in the way of me receiving money, stay in my homes without my permission, and steal my vehicles. Dan un asco. They're deplorable. You can decapitate Claudia Gabriela Martinez Urias. You can decapitate Joana Vargas. You can decapitate Albert Solis. That's his name. This steals from me and then wants to compare that the illegal hooker didn't lose her teeth and I did. O de que Jennifer Mari Vázquez nunca ha sido hospitalizada y mira, ya yo voy ya por todos días hasta los 40 y pico de años. Ay, Dios mío, el cumpleaños de Jennifer, me imagino que él sacó bombos y platillos, todo custom, everything. Porque that's why my dad sent me to un puerco, vete a la cola, vete a la cola. Y un día te vas a enterar. Y tú vas a saber que ella, at least from what paperwork that is shown in school, the teachers are like, what is your birthday? Whatever. They don't have the same birthday as you. It's impossible for all of them to have been born on the same day that you were. And he's taking them all out on your birthday as if they're you. Doing it, I think. They're like, I'm the new Orly Lorenzo, 19, whatever. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So he wants to show me que él hizo con Jennifer Mari Vázquez cuando ella cumplió 40 años, mientras yo estaba todo el día hambrienta, tenía que Lonnie were separated from me. Y luego estuve en el hospital. Y él todavía sacando del freezer cake del cumpleaños 40 de Jennifer Vázquez. What else? What else? What else? El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una carosidad. I don't ever want him near birthday. It's in a week. Yeah. So like I'd have to like push a Chuck E. Cheese's party, but I can get it together for myself, Jada and Kehlani, with enough money. Like it'd have to be like everything already pre-made. Very unlikely custom. Unless it's like a place with 2-day shipping that can handle it. Y él me quiere enseñar cómo esta gente pasaron el cumpleaños número 40, 41, 42, 43. Porque ellas son exclusivas de que le maman el pene. Y si tú le mamas el pene a eso, that's the act that he wants me saying. I specifically pick an act that I haven't ever done with them, mamarle el pene. Si tú le mamas el pene a eso, entonces tú tienes comida y tienes dinero y tus nenes y tu nena no te lo separan de ti, tienes casa y tienes carro y tienes vestuario y tienes todo lo que necesitas. Solamente si le mamas el pene eso. Are we all laughing, Melinda Gates? Who are happy marriages? They say, I don't need that shit in my life to be happy. ¿Qué se cree él? He's a narcissist as fuck, so girls. Fo, un asco, una basura. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So I have no, because my life is my life to live. I have no interest of finding out how these people celebrated their 41st birthday, their 45th birthday, their 46th birthday. What else? What else? What else? Is I get mad because it's like I wanted to know if the holiday showed up to Gustavo's birthday. Is he getting the death penalty for that? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Who's gifting money? The library closes in 30 minutes. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I don't have money for food. I don't have a bus pass. Me dejaron morir. Dan un asco. They're disgusting. Oh, and wait until it clicks onto them. It hasn't just yet because they're sex addicts, they're rapists, they're murderers and thieves. I witnessed them that they go like, she doesn't comer, like not like me raping her or seducing her and getting her to pay me legally to rape her. Like she, like this in her body. Hago y luego mear y cagar food. It hasn't registered just yet to some of them. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. What else? 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 They're disgusting. I'm seeking the death penalty for all these people. You think that I'm gonna go on to networking? Not when they're stealing from me. Sorry. So that you, that's why he trafficked them into my homes. But there were just, what is that? Because it's mocking them too. Caro Cristina, he's like, so you were at a party with her, you're gonna give her money? And then to me, he would say like, ha ha ha, you thought you were networking there, and they kept you poor. They actually steal from you. I didn't see it as a networking opportunity. Like one always accepts gifts if one wants to, as long as it's legit. So decades ago, he's like, I'm gonna make Jennifer. So he sold my Bitcoin. Y se lo revela que se lo mama. And if that's my personal Bitcoin account, I want him dead immediately. Da un asco, es una basura. So he said that he would make Jennifer Marie Vasquez rich so that when I'm networking, I sound like, so guys, you were done without me. It was the H&M. I can't buy anything. So that's why they hate direct conversation. They're like, como que le dije, I'm hungry, I don't have money, ya le dio el número de cuenta. No. If I'm gonna be masturbating to the thought, my apologies, Caitlin Ernst. Of Arlene, Jaden Kailani, and Caitlin Ernst, porque Jaden no sirve como padre si no le está pagando la comida a Arlene. He doesn't understand rules, se mete en la vida que no le importa, en una basura. What else? 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 So they get mad at this type of message, and this is why as family members, they don't fund one. They're like, this was too quick, too honest, too direct. She didn't even comment on her tetas. So they're like, let me show you how this is done. So Caitlin, good morning. So they said good morning, okay? Good morning. Like, right away. Y mira, esta bikini no te queda bien, by the way. No, no, no. Porque sometimes eso. Oh, qué bikini tan lindo. Bla, 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 bla. Caitlyn this, Caitlyn that, Caitlyn lo otro. Without Caitlyn knowing that that's my relative. So I'm like, Caitlyn, can you give me money? Because I'm hungry and I don't have money. And I need to live life and I need Jaden Kilani with me. Not like 24/7, but I'm supporting them financially too. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? En 2 semanas, Anthony Capizano le dice a Andrew, Diablo, ¿te acuerdas la tipa esa que le pidió dinero? Ya me dio un friendship trust. I'm like the best. Le dije, Caitlyn, qué linda tus tetas, ese vestuario me gusta. Nice meal. Oh, I cooked something similar to that. Let me show you. Let me show you. Mira lo que hice. Mira lo que hice. Mira la foto que le envié y todo. Mira la foto que le envié y todo. Mira, mira, mira esto. Mira esto. Mira la foto que le envié y todo. Le envié esta foto. Nene, no, yo no cocino eso. Anyway, se le envié esta foto de Arlene a la tipa. Se parece que ella no sabe ni cuál es la foto de Arlene. Entonces sí, le dio un masajito de aquí a allá, del otro lado. Me presentó a la hermana. Oh, wow, con ellas dos tuve un threesome. Y ya tengo tres. Y Arlene todavía, que Arlene no le regaló dinero porque todavía está en la biblioteca llorando que no tiene dinero y que tiene hambre. Pero sí, friendship trusts are so easy to collect from people. You just starve one. That one wants her to die because she won't be near my dick. So when the police says to me, but you are illegally extorting people out of money because you have no intention of ever being a true friend to this person and you're using stolen pictures just to gauge if they know Arlene's existence or not when they may have kept that quiet. They're like, I've seen this picture all over group chats where my friends are like, yeah, eggs, avocado, whatever. Y es like, Arlene es una mala esposa todavía. So, yo me tengo que entretener de alguna manera dándole insultos, dándole cumplimentos a la gente. Y acquiring friendship trust. So they have a competition, I've heard, of who, with David Lisman, who sleeps with the most people, with Ginny Jandaliris and Jandel, and maybe Jennifer Vasquez, who, and Jennifer Bonilla, who acquires the most friendship trust. So I'm seeking the death penalty for all of them because they steal my homes, they steal my vehicles, they get in the way of me receiving money. What else? 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 And they could be misrepresenting themselves as a significant other of mine when they aren't. Or they may be using my pictures to pitch. Like, look at this home that I have. I think I've messaged this person already. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I am bored. Listen, bird. And peanut butter in my fridge. I have water. I have applesauce as well. What else? 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 I want to clean my apartment. I'm gonna go do that today. What else? I haven't had self-care in so long. What else? So, él se cree que yo estoy ahora aquí en la biblioteca, entonces le molesta, so he stalls people from gifting me money because he's like, she shouldn't be messaging Spencer Pashkat that she needs money gifted to her. She needs to be stalking me. No. So I can get her to go to jail for never putting her mouth on my dick. ill from one. Trying to put one in jail for one not wanting to have sex with them. They're deplorable. They're disgusting. I don't ever want this near me. I don't ever. What else are supplies? What else? Some people are not local. What else? What else? What else? What else? There's another surf shop here. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Who's gifting me money today? Oh, it's yeah. Okay. I want to shop today. Have I been to each house? I didn't go. What's that place? They sell. I only stopped for a drink once. Oh, I want to shop there. What else? What else? What else? It's un parador, I think. They sell. What else? I think I've stopped for a drink, and so we're taking the drink to the beach. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So él se cree que I'm gonna go on to spend my entire day persiguiéndolo. I'm wasting my time when there's a Carlos Ponce that I want to date one day. Not sure Carlos Ponce. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Era una pérdida de tiempo, una basura, una carosidad. Vi una telenovela en que someone had a crush on the guy just spent her entire time stalking him and never loved again. Yo quiero que se mate, or if he thinks that I'm gonna become, I'll never love again. Da un asco. They're disgusting. Anyways, Dax Flame, I sent you my fundraiser a few days ago. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? Who's gifting me money today? I need money for food, for pots, for water, for me to take myself to Rincon to shop and eat there, visit the beach, and take JD money. I haven't been to that beach. Which I didn't Kilani since 2019. That's when they all went to. They're like, yes, Arlene quedó sin por la primera vez en temas. They live for that shit. Is this mine? They live for that shit. They starve one. They steal from one. They cause children to be separated from their mothers. At me not having money for food. What else? 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 Down asco. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Joanna Vargas that tried to rape me decades ago. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez or his sons that raped me. They steal my money, that get in the way of your same money. They steal my homes, they steal my vehicles. What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Who's gifting me money? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Richie Hill that raped me in 2023. You can decapitate everyone that has caused my starvation. Every day around the house constantly to know of any money. Oh, so I don't have money for fans. Well, guess where I'll be when I have money on Tinder dating someone. That's a circumstance that I didn't even cause onto me, and even people that cause themselves to be broke and poor say, "Oops, I made a mistake," but then back to dating. They're so deplorable people into that way of life that they have, so that they don't know how to rehabilitate themselves. They should kill themselves then, instead of dragging people into a way of life that is so deplorable. And that goes to like a lot of people in my family of origin. There's like hundreds of people at least that get live origin. What else? What else? What else? What else? They think they own that pussy. They're so gross. They don't understand what exploration is. They don't understand orgies. They don't understand even marriage. But marriage doesn't start either when it isn't. To her people, they're like, she's just lazy. They'll say, but that's your family member. You shouldn't talk about it that way. That they're right. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. I'm bored. Anyways, all the people that stayed in my homes without my permission last night, possibly. Ew, ew, ew. So you can decapitate everyone that can decapitate everyone that gets in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate everyone that steals my gift. I didn't know that personally. I don't know. Anyone in Nueva Puerto Rico is my dad. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? More. Anyways, I'm leaving the library and heading over to my apartment. What else? 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 I'm bored. What else? What else? Who's gifting me money today? You can decapitate Jennifer Marie Vasquez, that stays in my home without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way when you're stealing money. Steals my money, una puerca que cosa no sé qué me ya está con mis ojos. Ese tipo de puerco. Ew. They live for the photo op. They think that because they're all at a restaurant for all far away from Aguada, that they look good to someone. They're rapists, they're murderers and thieves. They're so disgusting. They're sex traffickers. Esa tipa una puerca. She raped me and my teens. Ew. And what else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. I have bread. I have, what is it? Peanut butter. And I plan to be, I can't remember now. Well, and what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Oh, I didn't call Jaden. Hang on, I don't understand this message on today. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Ugh, and I checked my bank account. No one gifted me money today. And I didn't receive money through PayPal. They're waiting, hoping the people that steal from me rehabilitate us. What else? What else? What else? So people are being us. That's a penalty, right? Mhm. What Oh, I think I said it. So,
Videos that don't have any serious interest in everything, being like a relative.